Hey everybody, my name is Jamie. Welcome to the channel where we are all about learning how to budget, save money, and get out of debt. And today I want to take a few minutes to talk about how to reduce stress when it comes to money. I think we can probably all agree that money can be super stressful, especially with things going right now with COVID and people being unemployed or having reduced hours. Money or lack of money really can cause a lot of stress in your life that beyond just your finances. So today I want to talk to you about how you can reduce some of that stress, take a little bit more control of your money, and really build a nice financial foundation for yourself and for your family for the future. So first off, if you're feeling stressed about money right now, the good news is that you're not alone. Again, money is one of the most stressful things in America. And according to the American Psychologists Association, the APA, money was resulting in stress for about 71% of Americans, which is a lot. A good thing to think, or a good thing to do if you're feeling stressed about money, is kind of focus on why you might be feeling stressed. And once you get a good idea of what's causing you stress, you can start to put a plan into action to reduce that stress. So a few questions to think about is, do you feel like there's just never enough money to go around? You're always a little bit short and you're just clinging to the money that you have. Another thing is, do you have a lot of debt? Do you feel, like you have student loans, credit card debt, a car payment, and you just have so much debt that it's weighing you down and preventing you from spending money on the things that bring you joy, like hanging out with your family, going on dates, vacations or road trips, investing in hobbies that you care about. All those things can bring you joy, make budgeting a lot more fun, and make managing your money just more fun. And if you have so much debt that you can't do those things, that can be frustrating and then as a result really stressful. Another big feeling associated with money and finances that goes along with stress is shame and guilt. So maybe you're feeling guilty or feeling some shame over the financial situation that you put yourself in because you took out a lot of student loans without really thinking about the consequences, or you are an impulse buyer or a stress buyer and you've racked up a lot of credit card debt and you're thinking about your finances, thinking, how did I get here? And kind of feeling guilty and shameful about the behavior that got you here. And maybe you're just feeling defeated and ready to give up because you've tried budgeting, you've tried managing your money, but just can't quite, get over the hump to taking control and really setting up a good foundation to reduce that stress. Today, I've got 5 tips to help you reduce stress about money and really set a nice foundation to control your finance. Tip number 1, if you're feeling stressed about money, is to just breathe. Take a few minutes and breathe and relax and maybe meditate on some of those questions I was asking before to try to find that root cause of why you're stressed. Another reason is when we calm down and relax, it helps us think more clearly, more rationally, really more logically. If you're feeling really stressed out, your brain can start to go 1,000 miles an hour and maybe start to get to worst case scenario situations. And when you start thinking in worst case scenario situations, it's hard for you to process the information and make good, clear decisions without emotion attached. So after you've kind of calmed down a little bit, I've got a 3-part plan to help you set up this nice financial foundation. The first one is to set up an emergency fund. So if you're not familiar with emergency fund, I've got more videos down in the description, and I've got an article directly about emergency funds and how to save up for those. So look for those down in the description. But an emergency fund, I think of it as like a buffer. So if something happens, your car breaks down, you don't have to be wondering, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to cover these costs? You have this emergency fund set up in your savings account that is prepared to handle an emergency like a $500 to $1,000 car repair without affecting the rest of your lifestyle, without having to swipe a credit card and accumulate more debt. And when you have this buffer money, this emergency fund set aside, it gives you a lot more peace of mind and feel more comfortable about just your day-to-day life and spending money and budgeting. So my first tip would be to work on creating an emergency fund. I don't have a great answer for how much is a good emergency fund. It really varies depending on your situation. But what I suggest to people that talk about money with is whatever gives you peace of mind. So if $1,000 in your savings account gives you peace of mind and helps you feel relaxed about money situations, save $1,000. If $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 helps you feel comfortable and gives you peace of mind about your budget and your spending, or gives you peace of mind to cover an emergency, then put $2,000 or $3,000 in your savings account to cover those unexpected expenses as they come up. So part 1 of this process of reducing your stress is to create an emergency fund, and however much makes you feel comfortable and give you peace of mind. The second tip I have for you, or second part of this plan to reduce stress, is to reorient your spending around your goals, values, and priorities. In a sense, that means make a budget. When a lot of people think of budgets, they think of restrictions and limits and almost more stress. And I am here to tell you that your budget doesn't have to be that. Or my definition of a budget is spending money according to your goals, your values, and your priorities, including those things into your budget and reorient your spending around the things that you care about and the things that matter. A couple things happen when you reorient your spending around your goals and priorities. Number one, you're going to spend more money on things that you care about. When you spend money on things you care about, it makes you happier. It brings you more just internal joy, and that becomes less stressful. You spend money more intentionally, and therefore you waste less money. So you aren't impulse buying things in the store. You are thinking intentionally about all of the purchases that you make to see if it lines up with your goals and values and priorities. If it doesn't, it's a lot easier to say no to it and put it back on the shelf. If it does align with your goals, values, and priorities, you're much likely to say yes to it in a way that is not going to stress you out later, or you're not going to feel that shame or guilt or embarrassment about spending money on things that you really can't afford. And then the third part of this plan for reducing stress when it comes to money is to make a plan to get out of debt. So there are a lot of different ways you can do this. I'm going to recommend the one that we used and the one that I think provides the most motivation to actually get out of debt, and that's the debt snowball. This is made popular by Dave Ramsey, and it involves paying off debt in the order of the smallest debt to the largest debt. As you're paying off those small loans, you're lumping the minimum payment from that small loan that you just paid off into the next. So it's accelerating the process of your loan payment. And if you're not sure how to do that, if you want more information about using the debt snowball spreadsheet and how to set it up, I have a couple resources. I've written an article specifically about how to make a debt snowball spreadsheet. It's got screenshots, it's got videos embedded, and I've got a link down in the description for that. I also have a free debt snowball spreadsheet download. So I've created a template that has formulas into it. It has instructions on how to set up your own debt snowball spreadsheet so you can organize all of your debt and make a plan to pay it off. And one of the best things about setting up a debt snowball spreadsheet, it gives you a debt-free date that on this date, I will be debt-free if you follow your plan. And most people I know that have set this up actually become debt-free before their debt payoff date because they get so motivated by this process. And check out those resources down below. And then the last tip I have for you in reducing stress when it comes to money really relates to all of these things that I just mentioned. The last thing is to stay motivated. So it can be really easy to start a new habit, start tracking your spending, start putting money into savings, set up your debt snowball spreadsheet, but it can also be really easy to lose momentum 1 or 2 or 3 months down the road. And so my last piece of advice is to find things that motivate you to help you keep going. So here are a few ways that we've found that are motivating for us, and maybe you might find will help keep you motivated to stick to your plan to save money and pay off debt and use your budget to reduce your stress. One of them is motivational quotes. If you're somebody who loves motivational quotes, print them off, put them on your phone, put them in places that you can see them so you can be motivated by them, and it redirects you back to what your goals are. Another one is to read debt-free stories. If you're trying to pay off debt, and you have to know that you're not doing that alone. There are so many other people that have already paid off debt and they have their story to share. I've got stories on my blog that highlights our debt-free story and other people that have paid off mass amounts of debt. And I've got links to those stories down in the description. So if you're looking for some motivation to pay off debt and turn your finances around, there are stories everywhere. You just have to look, and I'll link to some down in the description. And my last two that I'm going to share with you to stay motivated, one is to set goals that you care about. And that kind of goes back to reorienting your spending to your goals. When we were paying off debt, our goal was to start a family. We knew that we couldn't afford $922 of student loans and about $900 of daycare. Those two things didn't fit into our budget with our current income levels. So we knew we had to get rid of our debt in order to have a family. So that was our motivating goal. So find out what motivates you as far as goals for your life and write those down and keep those in mind as you are working through budgeting and saving money and paying off debt. And the last thing I would recommend to stay motivated is to celebrate your progress. Anytime you pay off a loan, you can celebrate that. It can be a cheap bottle of wine or champagne or going out for dessert. Celebrate your successes and at the same time reflect on the process and progress that you are making in turning your finances around. And in the end, it's going to cause your stress to reduce. Okay, that's it. So those are my tips to help you reduce stress when it comes to money. Those tools are working to set up an emergency fund, reorienting your budget around your goals, and lastly, creating a plan to get out of debt with a debt snowball spreadsheet. I've got all those tools listed down in the description. You can also check them out on my website, mrjamiegriffin.com. And for more insight on the topic of stress about money, I wrote an entire blog post of how to reduce your stress about money, and it goes into more depth about a lot of these things, so you can check that out below as well. And don't forget to download that debt snowball spreadsheet to start attacking your debt and having a plan for getting out of debt. So check out the resources down below, and if you haven't already, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button if you found this useful or valuable is not a word. If you found this useful or found some value in this, like, comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends so that they can reduce some stress around money as well. All right, until next time.